Well, hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to Pool Dog Championship Arena in Las Vegas with coverage of the APA World Pool Championships. I'm your host, Jason Bowman. I'm joined by the Hall of Fame legend, Ava Lawrence. Ava, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
Feels great to be back. So, folks, we have a special treat this afternoon as we await the first of our championship teams here in Pool Dog Arena from the World Championships. We've got a special exhibition that we're going to be bringing you, and it's featuring two absolute APA legends, the two most decorated, arguably, I would say the most decorated APA members ever in Brian Parks and
Yeah.
Ernesto Bayaua. Should be outstanding.
Talk about the clash of the titans here. This is actually really great. And the room is starting to fill up. I think a lot of people are still playing or they're just coming in. But you're missing out if you don't get to see this match. It's about as good as it gets in amateur pool right here.
Absolutely. So if you are here in Las Vegas, you can make your way down here to Pool Dog Championship Arena, take in the match. And for those of you that are tuning in from home, let's fill you in on some of the ground rules for these guys. This is going to be a U.S. Amateur Championship style match, which means you're going to see a combination of 8-ball and 9-ball. It's going to be a race to 11, see up to 8 games of 8-ball and up to 13 games of 9-ball. The winner of the lag had the option to choose the format or the break. Ernesto has won the lag and has selected to break, and Brian has opted to start in the 8-ball set. Now, we mentioned these guys are absolute legends. Let's look at their resumes. You've got Brian Parks on one side. He is a 3-time 9-ball shootout champion in the black tier. That is the highest skill level tier in that event, and a 5-time U.S. amateur champion. So, obviously very well skilled and ready for this match. And then on the other side, we've got Ernesto Bayaua, 3-time 8-ball classic champion, most recently winning that title in August here in Pool Dog Arena. So he is the reigning champion in the purple tier, which is, of course, the highest skill level tier there. He's a former Masters champion, and he's also the 2011 champion. So like I said, Ava, I can't think of two more highly decorated APA players for us to feature here, and we've got them going head to head in this race to 11. And we're gonna sweeten the stakes, right? APA is gonna give the winner here $1,000, right? So we asked the guys. We said, hey, they're both here on teams. We said, you want to get together? Let's do it. And so here we are. I think they are itching to go. Let's go to the floor. And it looks like they are just about ready. I also want to give a shout out to our referee, Mr. Brad Jones. You'll see Brad racking today. He's our league operator out of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Mid-America APA has volunteered his time, which if you've ever worked at our event in Vegas, time is a commodity, a true commodity when you have it. So we do appreciate him volunteering. So Ernesto will have the break. And the matchup of APA legends is underway, folks.
Table to open up really nicely here. Unfortunately for Ernesto, because that's going to bring Brian in, because no balls went on the break. And it's kind of a 50-50 rack. It's a little bit more of a mess with the solids, so if you can make the stripes here, that would probably be preferable due to the 2, the 3, and the 5. There's nothing major. There's a combination available, but I would definitely go with the stripes here. The 1 ball doesn't have a pocket down at the other end of the table. So we'll see. The question is, can he find a stripe to make? That 14 in the side looks real sharp. These pockets are not very friendly in the side pocket. So, oh, he's got the corner on the 15 right there. So, he's going to go with a 6. All right. And I'm sure that Ernesto is going to go ahead and go with the stripe here. You see our new arena. We've gotten a little flashy here.
It's got a facelift, hasn't
it?
Nice. Pool Dog Championship Arena got all dressed up for this year's event.
I love it.
A new pit layout, new arena set up.
I got to tell you, the crowd is, the crew has been really amazing as far as every year. It's gotten better and better. A little bit of touch here, a little bit of touch here, a few more cameras, and now the set to kind of complete that. So,
absolutely. It should be a perfect venue for whichever teams happen to make their way down here Tuesday night when we'll live stream the finals of the 8-ball World Championship. $50,000 going to the winner of first place.
It's really getting nerve-wracking out in there right now. Yeah. Oh, that's not what he wanted to do. You know, when the balls are open and they're attainable to go in a pocket, the last thing you want to do is go into the balls. Rarely anything good comes out of that. It's one thing if you have to solve it and break up a cluster, but I think he's got a bank shot on the 10, but it's not necessarily the shot he was hoping to shoot here in this spot. And again, now he got at least got the 14 out of there. He's got the 11. He's got the 15 on the other side of the table.
Again, this is Ernesto Bayaua at the table. Ernesto out of Tomball, Texas, the reigning 8-Ball Classic champion. He has a team competing. He had a team competing in the 8-Ball World Championship. He also has a team in the 9-Ball World Championship. I know Brian's out here with his team for the 9-Ball event, so the stars aligned, and we were able to get these guys together today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they could do this.
Absolutely.
Been very supportive of the amateur, both, like you said, the USAM and a regular championship. Both of these guys, if they had started earlier in their life and if they had different life choices or good things, bad things, whatever happens in your life, to be able to spend 8-10 hours a day practicing, who knows how good they could have been. But,
right.
you know, and are they a threat to win a match in early goings, especially in a pro tournament? Absolutely. But they're still amateur players. They don't make a living out of this. They've never come close to winning a pro tournament. And even though it's due to the men's, especially the men's pro tour being kind of unorganized, it's a judgment thing. But we know that these guys are on the height of the amateur pool, but not professional players. As good as they are.
I feel like you're heading off those comments about their,
well,
their status. That's
a lot
smart.
of people, especially when you
thinking.
watch this match, you're going, well, as good as these guys are, now obviously they're going to make some mistakes and whatever it is, but they're going to be showing you how to play this game today. There's no question about it. But we do often have questions about how do we, determine who is a pro.
Right.
And because the pro side is not quite organized enough on the men's side as far as letting us know who that is, we have to make judgments as we go along.
Sure.
And we feel pretty good about it. It's a kind of a teamwork between the league operators and the national office.
Right. You know, it's interesting here. We mentioned Ernesto won the lag, which meant he opted to take the break. Brian selected the format. I thought it was interesting he selected 8-Ball.
I was surprised.
You know, obviously he's got the 3 9-Ball titles, but
Brian has the 9-Ball titles. Ernesto has the 8-Ball titles. On the other hand, choosing 9-Ball is dangerous because that means you're giving up the break to the opponent. So you don't, most of these players will choose 8-Ball first because they can get back into it. Winning that last game is important so that you get to have the first break in 9-Ball, especially on a 7-foot table, where running racks is not, several racks is not out of the question for these guys. And he just made that look easy, didn't he?
Ernesto goes up 1-0 in this race to 11. This will be the second game of the 8-Ball set. And while we've got a moment, I want to hear a word from our friends at pooldog.com. All right, here we go. Rack number 2 in the 8-Ball set. Ernesto Bayaua with the break. Now leading 1-0 in this race to 11.
He's going with that center break. Oh, look out, cue ball.
Scratches in that corner.
And not much happened there. A lot of players will break from the side, hoping that 8-ball is going to go on the break. But players of this level, they feel they're, you know, a favorite to run the table. So they're not so concerned about making that 8, because the dangerous thing when you make the 8 on the break, if you scratch also, it's loss of games. So they'd rather count on making the ball on the break and running out from there. But instead, he's let Brian get in. But what a mess it is down on the left part of the table over here. So he's got some work to do. He's got a good breakup ball with a 4, where he can actually, if he can get the angle on it, he can break those balls up.
Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a special exhibition we've got going here at the APA World Championships, an APA Legends match here featuring Brian Parks currently at the table against Ernesto Bayaua. Brian pockets that 1 in the side.
And I don't think you can hit that ball any better, Jason. He got just enough of an angle to not go into these balls. Pay attention which part of it so you don't make it worse. Go into the 7-ball right here and get that out. I think he left the 6 in trouble. No, he can just barely get to the 6-ball. Perfect.
These players competing for $1,000, winner take all. Of course, this isn't like a tournament here. This is basically just these two, and we've brought them in and set this match up, and we're going to give the winner here $1,000, winner take all.
And again, this is the USM format, so it's not, you know, per point a 9-ball. It is, you have to win the rack. So it's just like, and same thing with Masters, the same way we play the Masters. A little bit different race, but same idea.
Of course, both of these guys very familiar with the Masters format as well. Both will frequently be on teams here in the Masters.
And that was a foul. It looked like that was a foul because he stroked the ball, and as he pulled back the cue ball, I believe he struck the 8. And when the cue ball then makes contact with the 8, that makes it a foul. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he didn't.
Yeah, I saw him. He went over and talked to Ernesto and then talked to
referee,
Brad.
yeah, so it's all good.
They got it sorted out. Again, Brian is a 5-time U.S. Amateur champion, 3-time 9-ball shootout champion. Plays out of Breakers back in Bakersfield, California. I know he's waiting on his wife, Sarah, and the kids to show up here. Madison and Jordan. I think he said his parents were coming in to watch too, so kind of a cool thing for the Parks family to be able to check it out. I know Ernesto has his own entourage here.
And he's making a bit of an ad too for Big Time Billiards. That's kind of cool. He's got that on his mask. He has chosen to keep it on in this particular match. Just like in our tournament room, while you're at the table, while you're shooting, you do not have to wear a mask. That's how it started back in August as well when we were here, due to Nevada laws and Las Vegas, the county that we're in here, the local laws. But halfway through the tournament, there were some people not really adhering to the rule, and they said, you know what, have the players put that mask on. And I appreciate APA fighting for this to be a sporting event, which means at the table while you're doing your thing, the masks can come off.
All right. Brian pockets that 8-ball, and we're all tied up at 1 game apiece, folks. Yes, Ava, it has been interesting navigating the mask requirements.
Yes.
It certainly has. No one loves them, I can tell you that. But we must do what we must do to safely hold the event, and everybody's being great about it.
It's not the end of the world.
No, it's, you know, and I thought the players in August were really great about it, especially when we had to change mid-event, and they were, you know, they were great about it. I think everybody just wanted to be able to have an event, right?
Right.
So somebody said the owners of Breakers are out here. Again, that's the pool room that Brian plays out of. Brian's sponsored by Jam Up Apparel. You can see the jersey or the shirt he's wearing. And Jim Pierce Cues. These guys get some great support from their local communities.
Giving Brad a hard time. All right. Stripe went in. And we'll see here. This looks pretty good again. The 9 ball is the key ball. This one right here to get on that. Whoops, that's an awfully big drawing. Other than that, you can see the 14, 11, they're all wide open. So getting on this 9 ball, the fact that the 6 is blocking the pocket over there, whoops, right here, you can see the 6 is blocking this pocket. I'm not sure he could make that in the side. So solving the 9 ball here. It might be in the opposite, going the opposite corner, but we'll have to see.
Looks like some spectators finally making their way here to the Pool Dog Arena to take in this match. Seats are filling up. If you're here at the Westgate, come on down and watch these two outstanding players going head to head.
Wow, Brian forgot to hit that one. Just barely made it to the rail just to try to go for the combo and just couldn't hit it firm enough. We'll see what Ernesto can do here. He's got the 2 ball in the side pocket if he wants that. I'm not sure if he can make the 3 off the 10. Or will it squeeze by? We'll see if he has to go into the rail with a 3 ball or if he can make it straight in. No, try to make it off the 10 ball there, but no good. And somehow Brian finds himself back at the table, and now it's a little bit more open, and he's got the 10 ball now to help deal with that 9. So that was a bit of a favor from Ernesto, giving him a chance here to have the perfect run out.
Busy week here at the APA World Championships. Busy day, in fact, Ava. We've got, of course, the 8-ball open still in progress. A lot of the 9-ball players like Brian that are on teams now making their way here to the Westgate. So it's a full house.
It sure is.
The hallways are full. The casino is full.
And while we pointed that out, Brian just got real careless. You could tell he didn't even come over to see where he wanted to be on this 14 ball. He stayed at the top side of the table and just went, well, I want to be there, and then rolled it way too far. And you can see he's pretty much dead straight in, maybe a tiny bit of an angle on this 14, but he kind of made a mess of things there, not being able to come up table for the 10 more than he can. Just enough where he could come around. And does that 9 go in that? Well, I guess it goes in the side. All right, perfect there, getting on the 15. He solved that nice after being almost straight in on the other side. He managed to come out with a lot of spin, cheat the pocket just a little bit, and created an angle that way. And new leader, it looks like right here.
Yeah, he's starting to hit another gear, isn't he? This is kind of what you see with these guys. They start to get on a roll, and it can be tough to stop sometimes. It's interesting, Ernesto before the match was talking about whichever one of them was able to settle in to the table first. You know, they didn't really have a lot of time to get a feel for the table before the match.
Right.
So Ernesto thought the key would be which one of them kind of got adjusted the quickest to the table conditions. So right now, Brian Parks leading 2-1. After 3 games of the 8-ball set, we'll see 8 games of 8-ball, and then up to 13 games of 9-ball.
And as you notice that they don't mark the pocket in this. Both players have agreed, and that is one of those USAM things where both players agree. They can go ahead and designate the pocket. You know, when you're playing in a standard APA, be careful with doing that, because if they come to me as a tournament director, if I run a tournament or you come to the tournament director does not have a choice but to go with the one that was, you know, take the side of the one that was in the chair if you don't mark your pocket. So, oh. Let's see, he's got a shot. A little more work in this rack than it was in the last one. That 5 ball, it's the one that is going to create the biggest problem because of where the 11 is. Oh, that's the, you know what? That's the third time. First rack, the last rack, and this rack. He kind of hit it too short.
Oh, it's interesting.
Barely got to the rail. He's done that 3 times now.
He was shooting there right-handed, right? I think Brian's a lefty, right?
Yeah, he was jacked up. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you're jacked up like that, it makes it tougher. But he's just, it could be that he's, you know, his stroke is a little bit off, or just not paying attention, or happens to the best of them. It's always refreshing, you know. I know that when I watch golf, it's so refreshing to me when they miss a 3-foot putt, because I can do that.
Sure. Can relate.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what Ernesto has here. Been away from the table for a bit. Ernesto, again, out of Tomball, Texas, where he plays out of Big Time Billiards. They're in Spring, Texas. Sponsored by Brutal Game Gear. Heather and Charlie Bryant. Hillbilly Bryant. You probably know Charlie Bryant. Does that
I
name
know
ring
Charlie,
a bell? He's been
sure.
around a long time.
Oh, yes, very, very well.
Ernesto wanted to mention his significant other, Teresa, sitting there in the corner next to him, supporting him, playing on his team in the 8-ball event. She's quite a good player herself. Has made a number of appearances at the U.S. Amateur Championship.
Mm-hmm. Players are calling out that it was a foul earlier, but
I think it got to a rail.
we have, yeah, whether they did or not, we can't really see it from here depending on the camera angle. So
You're talking about the
didn't
2-ball that Brian hit?
Yeah.
No, I think it got to it did touch the rail.
yeah, and if it did not, just so you know, the referee is there on hand
Yeah.
at all times, but the referee does not jump up and necessarily call foul. It's if they're the other player. We do that because same thing with the tournament. We don't have enough referees for each table. So just like it is on a local level, you can have somebody come and keep an eye on it. It's up to the both players. It's up to Ernesto, frankly, to say that, hey, did that hit a rail?
Right.
Brian is not the kind of player to cheat in any way, shape, or form ever that I've seen
Right.
of. So he may not have paid attention, or it may have grazed the rail.
Yeah, I do believe that 2-ball it did touch the rail, I believe. So we talked before the match with these guys. It's interesting. These guys are actually really pretty close friends. They've known each other for like 20-something years and have met numerous times, whether it was, you know, the APA singles, the U.S. amateur circuit, you know, other tournaments that these guys play in. They're very familiar with each other and very good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them I wanted to make it out like they were like bitter enemies, but it was difficult because they're just buddies. So, but I think they both appreciate each other's talent and they both very much want to win here. So
yeah. Yeah, this is a fun match for them to play. Obviously, it's $1,000 at stake, but I think more than anything, they just enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? They want to have a good,
sure,
fair fight. So, but they really do want to win too. Because
sure.
both of these guys are really competitive. So.
All right, Brian now, golden opportunity to take a 3-1 lead, pocket this 8-ball, which is not a problem. Crowd approves, now leads 3-1 as our referee, Brad Jones, prepares our 5th rack of the 8-ball set. Matt Bryson, I'm doing good, buddy. It's good to hear from you. Appreciate you tuning in. Matt, one of our very loyal followers down there in Louisiana. He's an Alabama fan, but I still consider
like
him a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still friends.
All right.
It's all good. It's all good, Matt.
You can't let politics and sports get in the way for friendships, you know, because your list would be very short if you did that.
Brian will have the break here.
Brian is using the kind of the standard 8-ball break from the side off the rail, hitting that 2nd ball. Didn't get much action on the 8, but he did open the balls really nicely here. He's got the solids. It looks pretty good. 8 ball is the only one to deal with. So a good player now will get to that issue as soon as possible. If you're skill level 2, you're skill level 3, make the balls that you can. It's not a bad thing to leave the 8 ball in trouble, so that in case you don't get all the way out, which odds are you're not necessarily going to, but when you are a 6, a 7, and the balls are laying like this, you need to get to that trouble as soon as possible. You do not want to leave that for last. So you're trying to find a path here to, as soon as possible, break up that 8 ball. And there it is.
Nicely done. Very nicely done.
Still got some work to do here.
It's almost like he could hear you.
Yeah. Well, there are certain things, you know, when you're playing, I mean, certain things that are do's and don'ts, and that was definitely a do. He's looking at that 3. He would love to get to that 3 as soon as possible. That's his last one now. 3, the 5 ball only has one pocket where it kind of makes sense for it to go in. So 2, he doesn't want it to go too far. All right. Not kind of shaking his head there. He got more of an angle on this 7 ball that he wanted. He wanted to be straight in on the 7 so he could just roll the cue ball down, deal with that 5. We're out of sync here. We got to get in sync by next week. So he could deal with that and then shoot the 5 ball in the corner, the 3 in the opposite. Now he's got a little bit more work to do. A lot of spin. Oh, beautiful. See how he killed the cue ball there?
Yeah.
When you hit cue ball with a little bit of low, you're kind of hitting it with some speed, but when it hits the ball, it kind of slows down a little bit, and held it beautifully for the 5. And he can just roll this up. Nice. All right, looks like Brian has found kind of his rhythm here.
He's in the groove.
Yeah. All Ernesto can do now in the winner breaks format is to hope he gets to the table, because it looks like Brian's going to take a 4-1 lead. He got a little far on the 8, but he should be fine to make this in the side. Nice.
He's got it. And he will extend his lead 4-1 here in the 8 ball set. Again, this is a race to 11. They're going to play 8 games of 8 ball, and then they're going to switch to the 9 ball set. Get a view
and that's
here
where it can get damaging. You know, somebody gets on a roll in 9 ball, and all of a sudden they win 5 or 6 in a row. So the last game of 8 ball is an important game.
Absolutely. Getting a look here at Pool Dog Championship Arena. Some folks filtering in after their matches today, taking in this excellent matchup of, as we mentioned, 2 of the most highly decorated APA members. There's some folks doing the wave back there. I like that. Arena does look fantastic.
I walked into the tournament room right before I came here because there was a player that was here that happened to be on a convention today, and he wanted to see, so I took him around, and tournament room is packed. All these players that supporting their friends from area, whatever, but it's getting down. There's the final 64 teams playing right now, and there's a lot of spectators.
Starts feeling tense in there,
Yeah.
doesn't it? You can feel it when you go in there in the later rounds. So
absolutely.
Ernesto finally back at the table, chance to do something here, hopefully. A little bit of a messy table there.
Yeah, this doesn't look like much fun.
You mentioned, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned all the people down there. We'll actually break the existing, our existing Guinness record for the 8 ball championship set in 2010. will break that here this week, or have broken it officially. We just have to get it certified now by Guinness. So
Are they here? Do they have to be here to certify?
they don't have to be here. No, we just have to submit some paperwork and things like that. But we will have surpassed our own record, or have surpassed our own record. So if you are one of the many out here who competed, give yourself a pat on the back. You're now part of the world's largest pool tournament.
I can't see that being broken anytime soon. God forbid we have
The
another
old- yeah.
pandemic. But other than that, I don't see that any event will ever be bigger than this one. It's pretty mind-blowing when you walk in there and see all the people. But everything has run smoothly so far, and I don't see a reason why it won't continue.
It's just hard to believe now that we've somehow managed to get everybody that had qualified from 2020 and 2021 here to Vegas, which was always the goal. And Ernesto not gonna like that.
No, Ernesto a little bit off. But you know what happens to you mentally when the table is this messy? If you don't see kind of a clear way of getting out, you can't really focus on what's at hand because you're thinking about what you're going to do later on, and you're not real thrilled with what you're going to be faced with. So that one moment of taking your eye off the ball, even a player of Ernesto's caliber can miss a shot like that, but a lot of times it's because your mind isn't quite into it. All right, we'll see how Brian is going to deal with the 6 and the 2. He's got some ball. He can use the 3 ball here. He might be able to go into this right now and come up. The 3 ball is the ultimate because you can control the hit a lot better. Yeah, that's not what he wanted because now he's got to shoot that 3. He might be able to draw the cue ball back here for the 6.
Oh, somebody mentioned that Brian's parents are here, Jean and
Met
Marianne.
them.
Yeah,
I just met them. That was great.
He told me before the match this is only like maybe the 4th or 5th time they've actually seen him play live, which is pretty amazing considering all the success he's had in the sport. So that's very cool. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a special exhibition here at the APA World Championships. A matchup of APA legends, so to speak, Brian Parks and Ernesto Bayaua. Brian at the table here out of Bakersfield, California.
He's going to try to come straight out. Did he get the angle on the 3? I don't think he got the angle he wanted because right now all he can but do is go into the 11. If he can hit the outside of the 13, if he can hit the outside of the 11 and have the 11 break them up, that's one thing. If not, he's going to have to come down and back up to break those 2 up. Oh, he didn't put enough spin on it. Did he leave a combo? He did. Not the easiest of combos. And the worst thing about this combination here is he's going to have to play position on both the 2 and the cue ball with that severe angle he has. And as you can see, the 2 ball is going in towards the cluster. So he's going to have to hit this with some speed, I would think.
If you're here at the Westgate and you want to come down to Pool Dog Arena, check this match out. It is free of charge. Somebody had asked if there's any cost for admission. You're welcome to come down. Still some seats available. Another opportunity now for Ernesto, and he hasn't had many in the last, several minutes. So see if he can get something going. Both these players on 9-ball teams that'll get going tomorrow night, late tomorrow night. Our 9-ball World Championship will get underway.
Well, everything's open. I would think that he's going to play the 11 ball next. That'll take care of the little issue that was on the table. Not much of an issue, especially with the shot that he got to start with. And then the other thing that a player looks for is to take the trouble balls first. And if there's nothing tied up, normally the trouble balls are identified as the ones that are on the rail. The other thing a good player does, especially if you have straight pool background, is to kind of clear the table in sections. You don't want to, you want the cue ball to travel as little as possible and just kind of clear off one section at a time. So that's kind of the order of things. Break the balls up, take care of the trouble balls that may be on a rail or in a funny spot, and then just make it as easy as you can. Just move the cue ball as little as you can and have a good ball to get to from the last ball to get to the 8. Pattern is such a big part of 8 ball. There's obviously more, ways than one, but in 9 ball, you pretty much have your pattern. It's just about staying on the correct side of the ball. And again, making it as simple on yourself as you can. But 8 ball, it's kind of a player's choice, obviously. Ooh, did he hit it hard enough? He did. Nice. Just enough of an angle to come out for the 8. Both these players are skill level 7, 9, 7 and 8, 9 and 9. And I think you should go through the record of these guys again, because there's some players that have tuned in that are not familiar with Ernesto and Brian and would love to know.
Yeah, Google them on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a good way.
You've got Brian Parks is a 5-time U.S. amateur champion. He is a 3-time 9-ball shootout champion. Ernesto Bayaua, 3-time 8-ball classic champion. He was on a Masters team that won, I believe, in 2015. And he was the 2011 U.S. amateur champion. So 2 of the most highly decorated, if not the 2 most highly decorated players to ever play APA. Ernesto cutting into Brian's lead, now trails by just 2 games. This will be the 7th game of the 8-ball set. But yeah, if you were to Google either player's name and the word pool, you'll see lots of matches from our events, other events that they play in.
And you can see Ernesto changed his strategy there. He's been breaking from straight on, and he's been, not able to make a ball or get the balls to open up really well. And he's been watching Brian having much more luck with it. 8-ball was heading towards the side pocket even, got some action on that, but the main thing was he needs to make a ball and keep control of the table. Let's see here if he does he have a bank shot? Yes, he does. This should be makeable unless if he can avoid the double kiss. No, he didn't. Just had that double kiss. It was a little bit too straight on, and the ball was almost on the rail there, so that was tough to avoid. That was kind of a one-pocket shot. Ernesto just banged himself in the head. At 4-2, you don't want to have Brian come in, and this is a nice table to come in on for him. Ooh, it was a nice table. Whoops. That was a little careless and unexpected.
This is the 7th game of the 8-ball set, and as you mentioned, the winner of that final game of 8-ball is always very important as they move into the 9-ball set because of the winner break format.
He's looking to bank it. The way he is aiming it, he was looking at the mirror system there, just doubling that distance to the 1 to find the spot on the table. Put himself in the situation. He's going to try to kick this 1 ball in. Well, it did about as, best as he could there, other than making the 1.
That'll give Ernesto another opportunity here.
Not an easy table for him either. So we could see a bit of a defensive game here unless he finds a bank. The last bank didn't work out too well for him, but we'll see. He has the 13.
Yeah, we've not yet seen a defensive battle yet, which we talked about. How would that play out in the 8-ball and the smaller table?
Mm-hmm.
But haven't seen it just yet. Pretty much all offense so far.
Well, he had hit that with a little bit more speed. That would have straightened out and gone in the pocket. Instead, here comes Brian again. Few unforced errors by Ernesto. He's played a good match, but he's made those little mistakes that have given Brian more than one chance at a couple of these racks. That makes a big difference, and that's where reflects on the score, 4-2 Brian. Well, the 3-ball obviously goes. There's nothing major here for Brian. He's just kind of taking his time to find his pattern. 3-ball on the side. And I'm a little confused what he did there. He's left a shot on the 2. All of a sudden, not sure why he came back all the way down to this side, but he's good. He makes it in the side. 7-ball is of a little bit of a concern, being that it's on the rail, especially with the 14 being right here. So he wants to get to that ASAP.